Think of it this way. A narcissist partner who's cheating on you might accuse you of being unfaithful. He's going to project guilt onto you, shifting the focus away from his own actions, creating doubt in your mind. This manipulation tactic allows them to escape accountability. And it keeps you on the defensive. It keeps you pushing back, being like, no, I didn't do this. Have you ever felt confused or doubted your own perception after interacting with a narcissist? Maybe you've been sure of yourself. You've walked into a conversation, you're like, this is what I'm going to talk about. And you walk out being like, I don't even know what we talked about. I don't even know what happened. I thought this is what was going on. Maybe you're at the place where you're trying to understand narcissist manipulative tactics of how they control your perception of reality, how they control what you're seeing, what you're doing, the emotions, things that are actually happening. You might be curious of how does this projection actually play a role in a dynamic with a narcissistic relationship? How does this actually happen? We're going to dive into this concept of projection and kind of walk through bits and pieces of it for you to be able to understand and see how it's exemplified in your current relationship, in the life that you're currently living. But first off, if you don't know who I am, my name is Ben Taylor. I'm a self-aware narcissist on this channel to provide awareness about narcissistic abuse. I try to help people understand from my own perspective, this is what I've done, this is what I've been through, this is what I've had happen in my life being a narcissist, and help them just see a different perspective. Sometimes it gives people closure. Sometimes it helps people understand that we actually have tools to help you break free of the trauma bond because we understand it from a different perspective. We have tools to be able to help you actually get rid of the rumination, eradicate the triggers. If you want to talk to me one-on-one, you can click on rawmotivations.com and go to the one-on-ones. Would love to interact with you there. We're about trying to help people, and we talk to people every single day to help them break free. Break free from an alternate reality that they might currently be in by what the narcissist has put them through. So you have to be able to walk out of the fog that you're in to be able to see more clearly. Well, part of the fog and part of the things that you get confused about is in projection. Narcissist projecting and putting something onto you. So when you think of it first off, projection, a lot of times I like to use the illustration of a projector. You have a projector that casts a movie or an image onto a wall. It's not changing what the wall actually is, but the appearance of it looks that way. The appearance looks like something is different because there is a different image impressed over it. But what is projection? What is it actually? Well, first I want to get to more of just the definition of it in general. Projection is a defense mechanism. It's commonly used by narcissists to manipulate and distort your own perception. By projecting their negative qualities, thoughts, and behaviors onto you, they shift the blame. Now, when we talk about projection, when we first break it down, I need you to understand that projection is first off a psychological defense mechanism where an individual attributes their own acceptable thoughts, feelings, or behaviors to someone else. That's all it is. It's a defense mechanism. What do I need to do? What do I need to take out of me to put onto you so I feel better about myself? Narcissists use this all the time. I used to use this all the time in how it would show up in my relationships. I'm feeling insecure, you're insecure. I'm cheating on you, you're cheating on me. Trying to flip it around all the time. It's not this concept of mirroring because there's nothing to actually mirror. I'm actually putting something on you that doesn't actually exist, oftentimes to make me feel better about myself. Now, sometimes you'll see this in a toxic relationship, and you need to understand the majority of the time, not all the time, but the majority of the time, that is the narcissist, the toxic person, self-confessing. Accusing you of cheating when you have never cheated and they know you've never cheated, accusing you of cheating, they're actually telling you that they've been cheating. We see this over and over. It's not just a nuance, oh, this happened once. We see this consistently of where they use this as a tool to be able to put things on you and to avoid accountability for their actions. Here's the wild part. You spend so much time defending yourself. You spend so much time defending, I didn't cheat, I didn't do this, that it takes all the eyes off, it takes all the accountability off the actual problem at hand, that they cheated on you. Okay, there's so many different pieces, but a lot of times narcissists will use this projection to be able to hide. Okay, really it's avoiding accountability, moving away from the actions that might actually hold them accountable for what's going on, and a lot of times it also keeps them maintaining a facade of superiority. I still look good because I don't have that problem. I don't have that problem of cheating. You have that problem of cheating. And you spend so much time saying, no, I don't have that. You don't actually think, wait a second. Like, he does seem like he's been cheating. And it doesn't make you question it. It's not just cheating, but I use that example a lot because that's like prone to my life of how I've shown up in the past. Okay. But by playing off of like their insecurities, they'll take their insecurities, their faults, their negative traits, and they'll project them. They'll put them onto you. They create this distorted reality where they remain blameless and in control. Like, I didn't think of it in the same words, in the same terminology, but I did think of the aspect that I was perfect. I did think that I had it all together, that I thought I was the best thing ever. The entitlement was like off the charts. The grandiose like sense of self was off the charts, but I wanted to flip it around on other people. Like, it's not me. I don't have this problem. You have this problem, so therefore I don't have this problem, so therefore I look better than you, even if I'm the one that had the problem. You see how sometimes it gets confusing? It gets confusing just trying to say it sometimes. It gets confusing because it's all flipped around in the mind. Think of it this way. A narcissist partner who's cheating on you might accuse you of being unfaithful. He's going to project guilt onto you, shifting the focus away from his own actions, creating doubt in your mind. This manipulation tactic allows them to escape accountability. And it keeps you on the defensive. It keeps you pushing back, being like, no, I didn't do this. At the end of the day, if you're like trying to say like, no, this isn't me, this didn't happen, you need to take a step back and be like, wait a second, is any of this valid? Okay, it's not. I'm not even going to respond to it. I'm not even going to communicate about it because I know it's not true. A narcissist wants to get a reaction, wants to get a response out of you over and over and over. When we talk about this, like, we also need to dive into a piece of gaslighting. Like, it'd be remiss if we just talked about projection and then even bring up gaslighting, because oftentimes they go hand in hand. Projection looks a lot similar to a piece of gaslighting in how it interacts as a form of psychological manipulation aimed at distorting your perception of reality. So, like, remember I first talked about like projecting, like putting like an image up on the wall. Like, the wall's going to look different. So then they're going to tell you, hey, that's a different reality. That's a different version of what you actually see. So narcissists use projection as a tool in their toolbox of how they're going to gaslight you, to make you question your sanity, to make you question your beliefs, to make you question the experiences that you've actually gone through. With projecting their flaws onto you and denying their own responsibility, it creates this environment where you doubt yourself. And here's the hard part. When you start to doubt yourself over and over and over again, you start to rely on their version of reality, not what's actually true. This is why a lot of times we caution people and we tell people like, hey, start a journal, start to write stuff down. Because when you start to script it out, you're able to see, wait a second, this doesn't match up. Like, this isn't what I'm thinking. This isn't what's really real. Like, he said this. I know he did because I wrote it down. Like, so many different things. You start to see things fall apart and disappear because you've been believing or seeing a projection. Whether that's a projection of the narcissist or a projection onto you about the things that they don't actually like about themselves. Like, you're going to see this a lot of times of trying to put a lot of pieces onto you. Think of this, like in the relationship, maybe you had your partner that's constantly criticizing your appearance. But sometimes what that is that's them projecting their own insecurities onto you, making you feel bad for something that doesn't even apply to you, that doesn't even look this way. But he's going to make comments about your weight, your style, your physical attributes, and cause you to question your self-image. Am I actually good looking? Am I actually enough? Am I actually pretty? Am I actually all these things? And it slowly erodes away your self-esteem. When this happens, when this erosion of self-esteem happens, it ends up being a place where they gain power. They gain control over you. Because at that point, they have like you locked in with the perception that they control over you. Think of it this way. Like, there would be different things that I would do in a relationship that would get people to change and to do different things about themselves because of what I was gaslighting or what I was projecting on them. Like, I was projecting different pieces of like, this is how I feel, projected onto them, and then they would modify different things of what they were doing because of how I felt, because of how I was putting on them. So it becomes this power dynamic of like, I control this other person. I made them do what I wanted them to do. Okay, part of this goes into our last point here, which is maintaining control. Like, keeping the control with perception, and it helps them have this piece of like superiority. Like, I am in control of you. I am over you. Narcissists will do this by projecting the shortcomings that they have onto you, controlling the narrative, making it look a different way. A lot of times we'll talk about this even with gaslighting, of rewriting, but going into it and manipulating the emotions that you have and oftentimes establishing themselves as the victim. Like, I hit it in a double whammy of like, I was the victim and I was always right. Like, how does that even work? But like, that's what I wanted to view. That's what I wanted to be. I was right, but I was also the victim. And it keeps you off balance. Like, it keeps you confused of like, what do I actually do? Did you spend a lot of time trying to defend yourself? Defend yourself against accusations that you knew wasn't even true. Like, trying to maintain their approval, trying to build the relationship, trying to connect on some level, but you're still apologizing. You're still going back and forth with stuff that you shouldn't even have to. Like, sometimes you'll see this in the workplace, where a boss or a coworker will project their own incompetence onto you, onto someone else, blaming you for mistakes and failures. Like, I'm doing this, it's like, let me avoid accountability, let me avoid responsibility and still look good, and still look blameless, and still look better than you, whatever it takes. Narcissist doesn't care how it hurts you. Narcissist doesn't care how it affects you. They just care that it doesn't affect them. It does, but mentally they're trying to like box it up. But like, that's not me, that's you, and put it on you. Like, if you've experienced like the effects of being in a relationship with a narcissist that's projecting onto you, and if you're at the place where you're ready to break free, I want you to join our 7-day challenge. It's $7. You get lifetime access. You have a community. You start working through day by day for 7 days. A couple bonus days thrown in, your introduction, your ending, of like understanding what narcissistic abuse is, how to start breaking free. Like, in this program, you start to gain really deep and valuable insights into the tools to help you heal from narcissistic abuse and help you reclaim the perception of reality that you've been questioned on for so long. If you want to work with me in an accelerated environment, you can go to one-on-ones in rawmotivation.com to accelerate your healing journey. Would love to be a part of that. Would love to help you out. Reach out if you need any help.